On Friday, before he headed into the courtroom for the day, Donald Trump took a little time out of his morning to get on Truth Social and rant like a lunatic about presidential immunity, an issue that he clearly does not know anything about. But this one was a little bit different, right? I mean, earlier in the week, of course, he had gotten on Truth Social and said that if he doesn't have presidential immunity, then of course Biden doesn't, and Biden needs it to protect him from what Trump wants to do to him. And on Friday, Trump took it a little further. It's not just Biden that needs to be worried. Oh no, it's pretty much every president from this century that needs to be terrified of what Donald Trump is going to do to you. Here is what Trump put in a series of posts, not just one, but a series of posts on Truth Social. If a president does not have immunity, the opposing party during his or her term in office can extort and blackmail the president by saying that if you don't give us everything we want, we will indict you for things you did while in office, even if everything was done totally legal and appropriate. That would be the end of the presidency and our country as we know it, and it's just one of the many traps there would be for a president without presidential immunity. Obama, Bush, and soon crooked Joe Biden would all be in big trouble. If a president doesn't have immunity, he or she will be nothing more than a ceremonial president, rarely having the courage to do what is to be done for our country. This is not what the founders had in mind. Protect presidential immunity, make America great again. Without presidential immunity, the presidency will lose its power and prestige, and under some leaders have no power at all. The presidency will be consumed by other branches of government. That is not what our founders wanted. Oh no! People are going to be held accountable for their actions. What a horrible country to live in, right? I mean, look, if you want to throw Bush on criminal trial for what he did in office, 100% I'm there for you. You want to go after Obama for killing all those civilians with the drone strikes? I'm not going to shed a tear. However, there is a world of difference between what those folks did and what you did. And that is important to point out. Presidents do have to make a lot of really horrible decisions. And they're going to do things that we do not agree with. And they're going to do things wrong. And they're going to do things that, yeah, in a normal world would result in criminal prosecutions. However, presidential immunity is in fact enshrined in the job. And what Trump is trying to mislead people about is that his Supreme Court case coming up on Thursday this week is not about whether or not presidential immunity exists. It does exist. And it applies to any action that the President of the United States takes, meaning you can't sue him and you cannot prosecute him for it. If President Biden came out today and issued a proclamation that said, hey, I'm going to let, this chemical company just dump all their chemicals in the river behind their place, even though it serves as an aquifer for 50,000 people that are all going to get cancer, I'm going to green light that. That is protected by presidential immunity. If President Obama or President Bush says, I'm going to go bomb this other country here, and yeah, we're going to kill a bunch of civilians, that's protected by presidential immunity. We don't like it. We don't support it. But there is nothing we can do about that, legally speaking. Trump, on the other hand, is not going to the Supreme Court to argue that presidential immunity exists. Again, we know it exists. The determination the Supreme Court is going to make is whether Donald Trump's actions to overturn the results of the 2020 election were being done as the president or done as a political candidate. And in a normal world, we wouldn't even be having this case because it's very obvious that it was candidate Trump that was doing these things, not President Trump. And if you want proof of that, look at who paid for it. The federal government didn't pay for it. That money came directly from the Trump campaign itself, 100%. Therefore, these were the actions of a candidate, not the actions of a president. Case closed. We don't need the Supreme Court to tell us that. We can see it with our own eyes. But what Trump is doing is he's trying to muddy the water so that his idiot supporters don't understand what the case is about. So if he loses at the Supreme Court, his supporters, they're going to be sad for him, but they're going to say, oh boy, we're going to prosecute these people. We're going to go after Bush and Obama and Biden. We got them. Oh boy. Because they're not going to understand what the decision from the Supreme Court actually means. Because Trump has been confusing them for many, many, many months now and they're not going to understand what that decision means when it comes down. That is his goal, and with his supporters, he's done a pretty good job of it. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.